Right. Sharad, did you listen? Recording in progress. It started.
Yeah, I did.
Okay. Okay. Hello, Sharad. Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Too many things going on. Too many wars going on. Oil prices are hopefully coming back to normal. And now we have midterm elections in the US coming in. Sharad, my first question to you is: inflation is on an uptick. There could be a global slowdown. Do you forecast a global recession in the next 12 months?
Well, hello, Shruti, to you, Good Returns, Daily Hunt, whosoever is watching this video, to all the followers, viewers, subscribers. Well, I would like to tweak your statement a bit. I feel the developed part of the world is already in recession. If you look at bulk of Europe, France, Germany, UK, Italy, Belgium, Poland, Norway, Finland, Denmark, some of these, the Nordic countries as well. If you see their GDP growth rates, I mean, Germany and UK have already recorded negative for the last quarter.
Mhm.
And the rule is that for two consecutive quarters, if a country gives negative GDP, you are supposed to be in recession, formally and technically. But a new and a very dangerous trend has broken out, Shruti, that these countries have now started to not to fall in that zone. So they've started giving GDPs of 0.2%, 0.3%, 0.5%, which I don't think are the real numbers. So as an economist, I have my reservations that these numbers are just an attempt to avoid the stigma of being categorized as a country in recession, because when a country is in recession, there's a lot that happens to you, and you get sort of pegged in a different category where the investments stop coming. Even the people traveling from that country to another country, they are not very well respected. I've seen even that happening. Or you're coming from a country in recession, and so on and so forth. People don't do too much business with them. So therefore, bulk of and most of all, Shruti, US, which was in war, you saw the US GDP numbers last recorded 1.4%. Before that, it was in decimals. I feel because of the midterm polls in November and President Trump's approval ratings falling down, he's desperately trying to win back the confidence of people of America. But I have a feeling that America is in recession. It's just that the numbers are being presented in a manner, just the way there's a lobby in Wall Street which is trying to keep the American stock markets pumped up. There's a lobby in America which is trying to keep the dollar pumped up as well in the derivatives market, in the forex derivatives market. So, these unreal things and artificial things, Shruti, as an economist, I get worried because it gives a very wrong perception to the world, to investors, to the analysts, to policymakers, to traders, to global exporters and importers. It gives a very, very, I would say, artificial picture, which can be very misleading, and it can lead to wrong business decisions. It can lead to wrong investment decisions. It can lead to improper agreements and collaborations,
Right.
which may not be required at this point of time, or which may be avoidable at this point of time. So for me, the developed part of the world, I'm putting in inverted commas, the developed part of the world is already in recession.
Right, right. I couldn't agree more, Sharad, because only yesterday I wrote a story about that. Economists keep saying that the American economy is very resilient, the growth is super, and that's not all of it, right? Inflation, core PC is around 3.6%, which is way above the Fed's target of 2%, and unemployment rate is over 4%. So we cannot really say the economy is resilient when everything else is falling apart. So on that, and good, I'm so glad you spoke about the midterm election, and clearly Trump is quietly. I think he's quietly doing his things, but he's also worried. What kind of impact do you think that the midterm election could have on global markets?
Well, I think if you take the House of Representatives and the Senate, the
Mhm.
two make the Congress, I have a feeling Republicans might lose the majority. And if they lose the majority after the midterm, I think President Trump himself has said some time ago that he risks being impeached. That is, he could be thrown out, because of whatever he's done, because people of America are against the Iran war.
Right.
people of America were also against the tariffs. So it's been ever since he came in January 2025. He came in November, but formally started off in January. So it's been about a year and a half of Trump. A very, very, I would say, roller coaster based ride over these 1.5 years. Lots of ups and downs, mostly downs, very few ups, I would say. And his incomes have already come in the public domain. I'm told he does 59 trades on an average in a day while sitting in the position of a president, which is unprecedented. His financial numbers, his own personal financial net worth, income, they came out in public domain yesterday. His net worth from $1 billion gone up to $7.4 billion. Well, I haven't seen a president sitting in the post and doing stock market trading, trading 59 trades on an average in a day. Well, one of his Truth Social posts can rock the global markets, forget about American markets. Imagine such a person trading. What can he do and how much profit he can make? Well, that's anybody's guess. I wonder what the Securities Exchange Commission in America, the SEC, which is at par with SEBI in India, what is it doing, and what kind of rules and regulations are there for people in public service, especially the head of the state, that there is no control they have. He can do whatever he wants. Well, I'm very surprised because 65% of the population of America, Shruti, is active in capital markets in America.
Right.
And those people, they understand very well. And you know how many times he's tweeted during the war, which has led to a swing in the markets either way, whether it's commodity markets, whether it is stock markets, gold and silver, crude, all these things, they were swaying like a snake sways to the tune of the snake charmer. When the snake charmer moves his musical device, you see the snake swaying the head like this, and that's just the way the markets were swaying. So, and he was busy trading as well, whether it is his crypto business in Pakistan, when he says I love Pakistan, his sons and his son-in-law. I mean, I'm shocked and surprised, and I'm sure the people of America, more importantly. So, if he loses the majority, Shruti, I think the global markets will probably heave a sigh of relief because his policy, especially on tariffs on Iran, they have been rocking the. So when he loses power, or shall
Mm-hmm.
I say, when his powers gets diluted, obviously those detrimental global policies which almost sank the world to recession, or sank the world to recession to a certain extent. I think he'll have difficulty in implementing those policies because as it is, Supreme Court has overruled his tariff. Supreme Court has overruled his birthright citizenship. So his decisions have not been certified by the judicial system, and they have not been endorsed by the people of America as well. So I think we are heading for a very volatile time, Shruti, in the next for the remaining part of this year, because the
Right.
next 4 months, including July, August, September, October, he's going to be busy handling his own economy, putting his house in order. Well, $40 trillion of loan debt, which American economy has, almost 130% debt to GDP ratio, can probably give sleepless nights to any head of the state.
Right. And when the wage growth is not rising as per inflation, that could be a nightmare. Unprecedented times, Sharad. Yesterday, a news broke about Grab a Gun. So basically, this is a company which wants to sell guns and weapons online. So for now, currently, the rule is that, you have to physically go to a store. There will be background verifications, things like that, a little bit stricter gun laws. And now this company, which had gone public last year, was supported by Trump Jr. And its share prices have fallen badly in the past 1 year. But now, if this law is approved, I think it's going to be really, really bad, because anybody and everybody can go. There could be, gun trafficking, things like that. Do you have a view on that? If this goes, if it's approved?
I'll give a broader picture. Yes, of course, I'm aware of Grab a Gun, and I'm aware of, his family members' involvement with whether it is with crypto business or other businesses. I'm a bit surprised as to the world's, I would say, the world's oldest democracy for that matter. They're going to complete their 250 years tomorrow, 4th of
Right.
July.
Right.
1776 was when America got free from the
Freedom.
Great Britain rule. They're going to celebrate their Independence Day in a big way because 250, it's a milestone. But what surprises me, Shruti, is being a democracy. I think public servants, people who are ruling the country, they should be answerable to the people if they're the positions they hold, if they use it as an office of profit, and if they make policies which are giving gains to the family, which yield in increasing the net worth of the family of the person. I mean, I'm really surprised how the people of America, if something like this happens in India, you know what happens. The opposition comes on the street and there's hue and cry. Parliament sessions are called off. Parliament sessions are suspended. People are on the roads. But what surprises me is the kind of politics that is there. You watch a session of American Parliament, and you find the opposition sitting so quietly when he's giving his speech and criticizing them right on their faces. And they all just sit quietly like this. I'm sure you've seen one of those sessions when he gives
Yes.
his annual address. I mean, how disciplined and how orderly the opposition can be. Either we have to learn from them or they have to learn from us, is all I have to say.
Nice. Let's talk a little bit about emerging economies, not only India, maybe, Turkey, South Africa, Mexico. What kind of implication do you see, or what kind of impact do you see for emerging? Of course, the rupee has depreciated and, the dollar is the safe haven. I understand all that. What I'm trying to get here is that, will these economies take a hit from the uncertainty going on in the world? It has, of course, taken a hit. Oil prices have gone up, but do you see a further downgrade to that?
Well, since your question is generic to all emerging economies, well, it all depends, Shruti, on the kind of exposure that emerging economy has internationally. Well, India is basically, we all know. Let's take an example of India itself. We are basically an import-driven economy, which is why we were impacted so severely. And even today, as we speak, the petrol diesel prices are up. No decision has been taken to recede them. Yes, the economies which are dependent on the global family, they
Right.
get more impacted. The emerging economies which are more atmanirbhar or self-dependent, well, obviously they are able to absorb these shocks better. And I'm taking examples of, when you say emerging economies, I'm taking examples of Vietnam, Indonesia, Malaysia. Some of these economies were very, very vulnerable, because when we found that India, 87, 88% of the crude is imported. So we didn't have a choice. We had to be looking elsewhere. Yesterday there was again a tension because of Russia asking us to export oil or petrol from here, because their refineries have been hit by Ukraine. They are quite abundant on crude, but they can't refine it now because the refinery facilities have been damaged. So there was a bit of a stress again yesterday, because we can't say no to Russia. They've been our all-weather friends. So the economies which are dependent on global supply chain,
Mhm.
whether it is crude, energy, gas, food supplies, fertilizers, I think they cannot avoid being impacted in a global stress situation. I feel, Shruti, world is one family. No country at this point of time is self-sufficient in every regard. Well, China, I would say, is to a certain extent maybe is quite a world in itself, because although it was also impacted by crude oil disruptions, but it has such large amount of petroleum reserves that it could resist that whole thing for much longer than what India could do. But otherwise, most of the emerging economies, Shruti, around the world are not self-sufficient. It's one big global family. We
Right.
are dependent on each other. Someone exports something, someone imports something. I think we are in a global world. Whereas, contrary to that, the global order led by America is becoming more vested. It's becoming self-centered. For
Sure.
example, China doesn't want to send rare earth minerals. America doesn't want to. America wants to tweak you on so many other things. So, twist your arm on so many other things. So I think if so, there are two things happening. One, where the world is becoming dependent on each other, the economies. On the other hand, there is the selfish and the vested interest creeping in. So both the things are contradictory, and I think it is high time. So either we extend our cooperation freely, or we become self-sufficient. I mean, that those are the only two ways to go. Otherwise, we're going to see more and more strain with the flux of time, Shruti.
Right. So the situation is clearly dire, and we have oil, risks. We have hope probably risk from the AI boom, and then there is protectionism, there is immigration issues. Where are we headed to? I mean, I just want an honest answer. Maybe from the economist Sharad Kohli, but maybe also from a human being, that where are we headed to as as a big family?
So you asked me my favorite question. If you ask me, I mean, I most of me is an economist, and I spend about 23 or 24 hours on economics, a day. But there's that 1 hour which I keep. There are days where I sleep less, and there's that 1 hour I keep for geopolitics and thinking about the future. My first take, Shruti, is that the next 10 years they belong to India. I feel, I mean, if you take these minor shocks in the stead, that these shocks obviously will keep coming. But broadly, I feel this decade, starting 2026, 27 to 36, 37, this belongs to India. India will be the torch bearer. Whatever may happen, I mean, we will keep getting these supply shocks and arm twisting from America, from China. But despite that, I feel the decade belongs to India as far as the growth rate is concerned, as far as the the country reaching amongst the shining stars of the world is concerned. That's my first take. My second take, Shruti, is a little pessimistic, which is I think we are heading for World War III. That's my geopolitical take, because although this war may have stopped, what you saw right now in the last 3 months in the Middle East, where we saw Bahrain, Kuwait, Qatar, Oman, Jordan, UAE, Saudi Arabia, Iran, Israel, America, so many countries at war. I think this generation saw that for the first time in their life. Russia, Ukraine, we have been seeing for the last 4 years plus now. By the way, that's become more aggravated right now. And I think it is entering a very dangerous phase because, as I said, Russian refineries have been damaged. And it's like there's an injured lion there in the form of Russia. They are nuclear armed and they are very, very big military power. We should know they're a super military power. They may not be a super economic power, but they are a super military power with most number of nuclear heads with them. So I feel, Shruti, that from now, that is 22, I'm making a very big and bold statement on your channel. From now, which is 2026 to 2031, the next 5 years, I'm seeing a full-fledged World War III. And this would be very detrimental because it is going to badly impact the economies which are very vulnerable. It's going to badly impact the overall population of the world. We are about 800 crore plus people. I feel the World War III will take away the lives of a lot of people because it's going to be very, because the kind of weapons which are in the armory at this point of time of some of these countries are very, very dangerous. Only yesterday, I was speaking about the Oceanic missile, which Russia has deployed in Belarus. And it's been pointed towards Britain, France, Germany, Poland, and some of these countries. Only thing is, they just have to load nuclear heads on that. So, and Russia knows that Ukraine is being powered by, if Russia has the audacity to hit the refineries in Russia, it's only because of the Western world. It's only because of the European Union or part of NATO supporting, Ukraine. So Russia at this point of time is infuriated because of this support, and it's just a matter of time. I think Putin's patience is being tested, and it's just a matter of time before things get very, very bad. So I feel we're heading for a very tough time. But despite this tough time, Shruti, I feel India would be the shining star. India will have to join this global conflict at some point of time, but not in the beginning. India will be probably joining at the end. That's my calculation of economics and geopolitics. That's what it says, although it's very, very futuristic. And having said that, Shruti, this is one statement where I would love to be wrong. I mean, I'm saying that myself. I really want to be proved wrong here because the prophecy I'm making is not very good. Is not very good for the world. About India, I would definitely not like to be wrong. India's prophecy is absolutely spot on, and I'm sure about that. But the second prophecy which I made about the global conflict, the World War III, because the seeds of World War III were planted in 2022 when Russia Ukraine started, and that seed has only been nurtured now with this conflict. So this conflict, I feel, is not over. It's just in a bit of a recess.
Mhm.
There's a bit of a pause there, and it's just a matter of time because the scars left by this particular war are very deep, and this is really going to have a very significant role to play in the conflict which I see in the next within 5 years. So people who are planning their careers, people who are planning their businesses. I also have an advice to give, with your kind permission, to the people who are settled abroad, to the NRIs, to the Indians, to the PIOs who are settled abroad. I'm making another bold statement now that please try and wind up and come back to India. If you wind up yourself, you would be able to wind up your businesses, your jobs, your houses, your investments, your family, your children's schools, education, very methodologically, and you'll come back here. But if you have to leave in distress, if you have to leave suddenly, you will obviously be at a loss because you will have to leave behind all the hard work that you've done until now.
Very, very well said. Very well said, sir. One last question before I let you go, Sharat, is that India will be the fastest growing economy, I feel, even this year or next. Growth rate around 7 to 8% or more, probably. What do you have to say to those people who keeps playing the card of per capita income? Yes, we are a country with 1.5 billion, people. So what do you have to say to them? They keep saying the same thing about capita. So
No, we
anything
have
for
to
them?
respect the yeah, we have to respect the mathematics. Well, if the population is 140 to 150 crores, we will be counting ourselves this year, and in 2027 we will know, including me and you, how many of us are there in this country. We keep making speculation: 140. Somebody says 145. Now people have started saying 150 crores as well. Obviously, since we haven't counted, we can
Right.
only put a number. We can imagine a number and put anything. But if that large a population is present, obviously the per capita income has to be lower. And there are some bitter truths about our economy which we cannot deny. And I don't think we can blame any government for that. I mean, we can only blame either all the governments from then until now, or we just blame the destiny of this country, because we can't deny that we've got rampant unemployment. We can't deny that there is a lot of poverty still here. We can't deny that the gap between the rich and the poor, the wealthy and the haves and the have nots, as we call them, that gap is widening. We cannot deny all that. So the country has problems. I do not deny. Yes, our per capita income is far lower when we call ourselves as fifth or sixth largest economy in the world. Well, we
Right.
were supposed to be fourth, thanks to the weak rupee, that we've sunk to the sixth position. Hopefully, if the rupee recovers, we'll be back to the fourth position. Germany, sorry, UK and Japan seem to be. We are running a sprint. Who touches the rope first. But then, yes, there are dichotomies in our economy. And I'll give you a very interesting data before I leave, Shruti. Uh, you'll be a lot of, probably the followers, your subscribers would not know that 90% of the population of the country earns less than 25,000 rupees a month.
Right.
uh, which means if I flip the data, only 10%, which is 14 crore people in this country, earn more than 25,000 rupees. You can imagine, I'm taking a positive out of this, although the data is very depressing. Uh, Leave out two people in the family making 50,000, three people in the family making 75,000, but I'm taking it on a per person basis. Now I'm taking the positive side of the positive side of the data is only 14 crore people, Shruti, are practically driving this country's stupendous growth. 6.5, 7%. Only 14 crore people. They are the people who are contributing most to the tax as well. I'm talking of the direct taxes. Well, direct only 2.5 to 3 crore people actually pay taxes. I'm talking of the income tax. I'm not talking of the GST, of course. A newborn baby also pays. You do your antim sanskar, you still pay the
Yeah.
GST. So I'm not talking of GST. I'm talking of the income tax. So, very few people, Shruti, are driving the growth of this country. Imagine if this 14 crore spectrum grows to, let's say, 28 crores. You can imagine where our GDP would be, what our potential is. So we got a huge potential. 65% of our population is less than 35 years of age. We are a very, very young and aspirational nation. So I think the future of this country is very bright. There are data like per capita you spoke of, which does put a question mark on a lot of economists who are bullish on this country. But our country is full of dichotomies. I mean, if we probably start discussing, we will need another half an hour to speak about, which I'm sure we can look for another occasion to discuss, Shruti.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Sharat, for coming. Very insightful, very charming conversation. And we hope to get you in another show very soon,
My pleasure.
talking more about GDP and current events. Thank you so much.